لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن سيدنا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Alhamdulillah, it is out of the mercy and kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that not only are we given the opportunity to meet on a Friday, but we are given an opportunity to meet on a day that we can say is a day before Ramadan. Ramadan is that type of month that cleanses an individual for an entire year. Salah cleanses us from hour to hour. While it can be appropriately said, the Jummah, the day of Friday, will cleanse us from week to week, it is only fair to say, as derived from a hadith, that the Ramadan cleanses us month to month and on a year-to-year basis. If we understood the value of the month of Ramadan, then we would appreciate that the scholars of the past used to actually make dua 6 months in advance. Oh Allah, give us the opportunity to be part of this blessed month. And when the month of Ramadan comes to an end, they would make dua approximately for 6 months saying, Oh Allah, we hope that you have accepted the month of Ramadan, the month that has passed us. Because the scholars and the tabi'een of the past understood very well that if the month of Ramadan is accepted, it will create change in a person's life, in a person's community, in a person's present, as well as in a person's future. Amongst the tips that we have covered in the past few weeks are, one is, before the month of Ramadan comes, at least increase the amount of nafil fast, extra fast, if we can take part in. For most that is over. So number 2 can still be taken part in, at least until Maghrib today, is try to recite a little bit more Quran in preparing ourselves for the month of Ramadan. Amongst the things you can do today is recite the Surah Kahf. How many of us make use of the reciting of Surah Kahf every Friday? Yet we know full well that the reciting of Surah Kahf will not only help us in the hereafter, inshallah, it will help us in this world, because a person that recites Surah Kahf will be prevented from being around the likes of Dajjal. The person who recites Surah Kahf will be that individual that will be safeguarded from the wrongs of society. So whilst others are taking towards evil actions, whether it is gambling, whether it is clubbing, whether it is partying, whatever it may be, by your continual recital of the Surah Kahf, Allah will make you like the individuals that were called and are called the sleepers, those people that were safeguarded from wrong at their time, merely because they believed in one Allah in the proper manner. So while we believe in one Allah, we also believe in the Quran. And we also believe that the Quran is a prescription of every and helping us move away from every type of wrong. So we can start today with the Surah Kahf. Maghrib will come, we'll have an opportunity to recite Surah Waqiyah. Every individual, regardless of the financial background, will tell you that they have financial issues. If Allah has blessed you with a lot of wealth, then it is tax issues. If Allah has blessed you with a lot of wealth, then it is the doctor's bill. Somebody at all times, regardless of the amount of wealth they are affected with financial issues. Yet we know full well when a Sahabi was passing away, people said, you have daughters, who's going to take care of them? And many men will prefer to get their daughters married sometimes by hook or by crook. Because once the daughter is gone, we have less of a financial worry. And what did this Sahabi say? You are concerned about my passing away? You are asking me who's going to take care of my daughters? Let me tell you one thing. I taught my daughters the value of Surah Waqiyah. And I trust in my Allah. And I realized full well, if I left them with Surah Waqiyah, I can rest assured, even though I may be gone, my Allah will continue to take care of them so long as they take care of their obligations towards Allah and themselves. And one obligation upon themselves is the Surah Waqiyah. So again, Ramadan is round the corner. For some it may have already started, be as it may. What are you doing with the Quran as it relates to your personal life? You may say, I don't need to read the whole Quran. The whole Quran may not benefit me. You may come up with arguments. Although I may cherish your arguments, Surah Kahf will help you. That's why the ulama say, if you cannot recite the entire Surah Kahf, the least you can do is recite the first 10 to 15 ayah and the last 10 to 15 ayah. And on a daily basis, if you can read the first 10, 15 ayah and the last 10 to 15 ayah, and rest assured, the evil that is hurting you, the weird vibes that people send towards you, this will work as a protection against that. So, one is the Surah Kahf, one is the Surah Waqiyah, the other is the reciting of the Surah Mulk. Everyone is going to pass away. Somebody was telling me one of the oldest people that are alive right now is 120 years old, be as it may. So, we don't know how long, but we know that the maximum a person could live, if you want to use this as your new number, 120, 125. And thereafter you are gone. We'll be spending more time in the grave than out of the grave. And we understand full well, amongst the things that will help us in the grave is the Surah Mulk. My brothers and sisters, people say that how do you know the Surah Mulk will help you? Scientifically we now know, and Imam Shafi said this many years ago, what he said, after the Isha Salah, talk light stuff. Don't talk heavy stuff. Talk things that are calm in nature. In fact, it is makruh after the Isha Salah to get into a dialogue that is very tense in nature. Your dialogue after the Isha Salah should be very light. Should be with the family. It should be happy things. It should be calm things. How was your day? Was your day good? Tomorrow will be better. Use positive speech after Isha. And some scholars said, if you're not going to talk things that are cool and calm and linked to the positive aspects of religion, then it is better you keep your mouth quiet because you'll be getting a sin. So we know from scientific research that individuals that yell before sleeping, argue before sleeping, get into a fight before sleeping, the entire night becomes a misery. It even affects the dream patterns, the sleep patterns, etc., etc. So just like the negativity of the day and night affects your sleep, we can say likewise, your lack of Quran and the lack of reading Surah Mulk, the lack of reading Surah Kahf, the lack of reading Surah Waqiyah will affect the type of places you visit, will affect the wealth and the barakah of your wealth, and the Surah Mulk will also affect what is going to take part in the grave. So this is something we have to believe in. Then again, we spoke about the next thing we should try to get ready with is not just the Quran, but also increasing in the acts of that which is nafil. Simple hadith that comes to mind. There is a boundary. You have a farm, and the next person has their farm. The less you feed your animal, the more it's going to go to the boundary of your neighbor. And the closer it goes to the boundary of your neighbor, eventually it will go into the property of your neighbor. The animal will go into the next person's property. The ulama have said something very beautiful. Take nafil as seriously as you can take it. Nafil means extra prayers, extra reciting of salah, extra reciting of Quran, extra reciting or extra giving of charity. We know zakah is the bare minimum we need to give. Salah, fard is the least you need to give. Hajj, once in a lifetime is sufficient. We understand all this. My brothers and sisters, we have enough money to spend on weddings. 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. We have enough money to go on vacation. And many people, when they come back from the vacation, they will tell you they need another vacation. Because our vacations have become stressful in nature. We go abroad. They only want, first thing they're looking at, how many bags did you come with? Thereafter, the watch brand, you brought this for us. Isn't there such and such brand in America? What are they telling you? You're buying something worth $15, $20, we can get that in our countries. Go back home, get us something real. All this affects you. They may not tell you. They will tell it to your young son and daughter. Then mother and daughter talk at night. What does the hadith say? The one that supports Masjid al-Aqsa, the one that gives money towards that place and visits that place, the one that goes to the Umrah, the one that goes to Mecca, the one that goes to Medina, my brothers and sisters, that individual is not only livening that place, that individual is also livening the iman. So this is also part of nafil. Going on Umrah is part of nafil. To visit Masjid al-Aqsa is part of nafil. To go to Mecca and Medina is part of nafil. So while we spend our money on other things, we have to now start re-evaluating. So these little things help us with a better Ramadan. Point number 4 again, very important, the importance of dua. We ask one another for dua. Dua is something you don't ask people for. Dua is something you must get from people. You must do such good things for people where people will say, that man is a good man. That woman is a good woman. That is enough of a dua. Once they say that person is a good person, and you having financial problems, the angel will say, oh Allah, this person is having a problem, but this person is a good person. Why don't we accept this dua? So, while we are begging others for dua, we must beg Allah through dua, oh Allah, put my behavior right. Put my character right. Put my relationship with people right. Make me eat that which is right. Make me communicate that which is right. Make it such that, oh Allah, you will accept me, because once you accepted me, everyone else will accept me. And we don't do it for the acceptance of people, we do it for the acceptance of Allah. So this is a dua we should also make. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ. When Shaitan heard this ayah, Shaitan began crying. There was a Sahabi, and I mentioned this many times, was involved in wrong. He did a lot of wrong. And Sahaba did wrong, not because they were evil. Sahaba at times did wrong, and they were made to do wrong, so that way the wrong could be taken to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when the wrong is taken, they can be reprimanded in the correct manner, so you and I can learn from their mistakes. Because the Sahaba learned from their mistakes and they put their behavior right, the Quran says, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. That is why, according to the ulama, if you use abusive language on Sahaba and you call them evil names, then your iman is not only in jeopardy, you become a kafir. This is part of our aqidah. How did this become a reality? Because when they made their mistakes, they took the case to Rasulullah. Rasulullah ﷺ held them correct, and they became like shining stars. When this ayah was revealed, Shaitan began crying. And why did Shaitan cry? Because in one case, for example, the Sahabi goes and he says, you know, I've done everything wrong in nature. I came very close to making zina. I kissed a woman. I hugged a woman. I did everything that was to be done with that woman. But Allah prevented me from the actual act of zina itself. Thereafter it is said, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً, regardless of the obscene behavior. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا, and referring to the one, إِذَا فَعَلُوا, when he did. فَعَلُوا actually refers to the act of physically doing the wrong. Not talking about the wrong, not fantasizing about the wrong, physically perpetrating the action of wrong. Fa'il, fa'alu, fahisha, lewdity, immorality, types of improper behavior. Allah is saying regarding that person, fa'alu fahisha, أو ظلموا أنفسهم. Not only did wrong towards others, also did wrong to himself by having evil thoughts, planning evil behaviors. ظلموا أنفسهم. When you plan and plot wrong, you're not doing wrong to the other person as much as you are doing wrong to yourself. Because that planning takes your time, takes you away from Quran, takes you away from Hadith, takes you away from positive thinking. It takes you towards unnecessary arguments. That's what the Quran says, ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. O you who have oppressed yourselves with all types of evil. ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهِ. After that you started remembering Allah. Yeah, I was wrong. I shouldn't have went there. I shouldn't have talked to her. I shouldn't have sent this message. I shouldn't have been part of the discussion. ذَكَرُوا اللَّهِ. Allah says, فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ. You've done it, I will forgive you. And thereafter Allah says, who is the one? وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Telling to you and I, others will not forgive you like the way I will forgive you. So, point number 5, take part in a sincere repentance in these last few moments before the Ramadan comes in. And take towards a sincere repentance so that way you can appreciate the beauty of Ramadan. Also the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu says, as far as the child of Adam is concerned, even if your sins went all the way up to the clouds and beyond, and thereafter you ask for forgiveness towards me, rest assured, I will forgive you. Point number 6, regarding generosity. This is something we have to also take towards. Our economy is not the greatest, and individuals are going through all types of challenges, not only in America and abroad. And it is our duty to help on 2 levels. That's why قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. Amongst those individuals that are successful are those that perform their salah. And Imam Ghazali comes to a point of saying, if your salah doesn't have khushu', you consider your salah to be rejected and go and repeat it again. Of course, we don't hold that high standard, but we firmly believe that it is important to try to create that tranquility in salah and stay away from evil talks, and also importantly become active in giving your zakah. You cannot become active in giving your zakah if you only give it abroad. Yes, we should give it in various places. First criteria is your street. Second criteria is your neighborhood. Third criteria, the next city. Fourth criteria, it moves out like an onion. Then the next state. Then we go abroad. If everyone fulfills this criteria, then inshallah, poverty can be eliminated. Dr. Iqbal Hussain once invited me at a place, and I spoke to an individual that was part of that gathering. And later I verified this information. If Muslims, all of them gave the zakah, we can eliminate poverty on the earth. We can eliminate poverty especially for every Muslim. There will never have to be poverty, and no Muslim will have to go poor or go to bed hungry. This is the reality. That's how much Allah has blessed the Muslims. Yet we do not take it very seriously. And those that have wealth will appreciate spending their wealth in places that are very immoral and inappropriate. So the next aspect is the giving of charity. And in this month, if we take it seriously, then inshallah, the rest of the months will become much more easier, not only for those that are poor, but for ourselves as well. Number 7, it's very important to control our tongue. As I've said before, the tongue, as the saying goes in Arabic very beautifully, its size is small, but its weaponry, its hurt, its pain is much more large. And that is why students of the past, in one school I went, in one class in particular, the teacher had an agreement that every student sitting in class will hold his tongue out in a biting motion like this. That's it. You'll have to have your tongue a centimeter out, and it will be clasped between your teeth. If that teacher saw you anywhere, and if your tongue was not clasped between the teeth, consider yourself to be taken out of his class. This is how important he viewed the tongue. Because he says, the horror the tongue creates, nothing can create such horror in a person's life. So without expanding further, we have to take the tongue very seriously and observe what we are saying with the tongue. And understand full well, many times we claim to hate a person. I firmly believe the one we hate is the one we love. And the one we claim to love, we actually hate them. Because the one you claim to hate, by slandering them, you are making the Jannah bigger and bigger, and you're making your own Jannah smaller and smaller. As my one teacher used to say very beautifully, stay away from religious people, because rest assured, you will be making their Jannah bigger than anyone else's Jannah. Because religious people slander more than anyone else out there. Therefore, understand the value of the tongue. Understand the value of association. Understand the value of who you are elevating and who you are bringing down. Point number 8. This is also a month to improve our character, because the Quran says, prescribed upon you has been fasting. Why? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may attain taqwa. Taqwa, as we said before, is a higher level of iman. And the best of iman is found in a person's character. And one of the best ways to enhance your character is look and ask yourself, where am I having a shortfall? Is my shortfall in talking too much? Then zip them out. Is my shortfall in being selfish? Take towards generosity. Is my shortfall towards gossiping? Then stop gossiping. Is my shortfall towards yelling at my husband or wife or children? Then let go towards that. As I mentioned yesterday, if we do wrong in the month of Ramadan, we do not have shaitan to blame. If you are addicted to the computer and internet, now shaitan is taking a break from you. Just look at it that way. And now if you are still going to go towards that bad behavior, then no more it is shaitan, it is your nafs. That is a reality. So point number 8, improve our character by seeing where we have been doing wrong. Point number 9, take towards moderation in eating. Every disease is linked, according to some, with the eating and the food you put in your mouth. So not only should we limit our eating, but also it's time for us to focus on a much more healthier diet. As Hassan al-Basri said it very beautifully in translating, the test of Adam will remain food until the day of Qiyamah.
two meanings. One that has food is tested because sometimes they overdo it. And the one that doesn't have food is also tested because when you don't have food, you begin asking, where is my Allah? And you can lose your iman. So the aspect of food will remain a test till the day of Qiyamah. And as believers, we have to evaluate the situation very, very well. And finally, point number 10 is not only the aspect of food, but also in this month, we have to look at a sunnah that we have once upon a time loved and let go of. This is a reality. Like for example, whenever I meet a person that came from abroad, they will say, I used to do this back home, but now I let go of it. For some it may be a simple thing, like wearing of a hat. For some it may be the siwak. For others it may be fasting twice a week. For others it may be after salah making dua. For others, and you fill in the blank. Everyone over here has something that they used to do that was correct in nature, that they stopped doing either out of embarrassment or a lack of time or because they were picked upon. Whatever it may be. Now the 10th point is very simple. Liven a sunnah that you have killed off yourself. And once you begin doing this, inshallah, your reward will not be only that of a shaheed, but in the month of Ramadan, that simple nafil act that you are doing will inshallah give you the reward of that of the farad. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in fulfilling these 10 points, make us understand the value of Ramadan, and also help us in understanding that if we put ourselves right in this month, it can help us throughout the year. Just a very brief announcement.